Into you with the 98 Toyota Camry, 1998 Toyota Camry, and we're doing the timing belt and an oil seal that's behind the timing belt on the crankshaft seal. This one's leaking pretty bad. This is my buddy Jim's. I told him we're gonna go over it pretty good. It's a good driving car, just that oil leak, and it's at 178,000 miles and has never had a timing belt installed. So we're gonna go ahead and install one. I went ahead and got off the air cleaner. Air filter's a little dirty, not too bad. But I do recommend changing it. We gotta vacuum out the air cleaner box. And we do have really bad carbon buildup, which is doing that rough start in the mornings. And we're taking this video for Jim so that you can see what's going on. Top and bottom's all really kicked up pretty bad. So we're gonna do a throttle body service too while we're at it. That'll all be part of it. And so right now we got the air cleaner tube out. The air cleaner tube needs to be replaced. This hose just broke off. Real brittle, so we're gonna have to replace this hose too, unless this is long enough to reach, but I doubt it. So we're gonna start getting to business, and first I removed the upper motor mount. There it is right there. And we're gonna show you step by step on how to get all the way to the timing belt. So here we go. Off the alternator. Just loosen this all the way till it comes out about that far. Break the bolt loose. Take it completely out because we're gonna remove the whole alternator. And then screw it back onto the hole so you know where all the bolts go. This is 12. This is a 14. Once we get it loose, this is 10. We took the cable off already and the plug on the back. That's down there. So we're going to take this belt out as soon as we get it out and move on to the next piece. And next we're taking out the coolant reservoir. We have to disconnect it from the radiator right here. Set this aside. Now we're going to work on taking this bracket off. All these bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all 14 millimeters. And we're going to remove that. Okay, I went ahead and lifted and supported the vehicle. Pulled off the passenger side front wheel. Just so I wouldn't lose the lug nuts, I just twisted them on 2 or 3 turns so that we know where they were going. Next we're going to take off those splash shields behind over there in the wheel well. Shield off. Now I got a torque wrench under there. I tried to impact that bolt off right now for the crankshaft bolt, but it wasn't budging. So we're sticking the crowbar. We're going to do a starter bump. That way it cracks that crankshaft bolt loose. Did the starter bump and we got the crankshaft bolt off. We had the tool to pull it off. And the toolkit didn't come with these bolts. These bolts, I actually had to save them from extra car bolt that I have, and I just collect them in a bucket. So I just had to find out which bolt fit in there and stick them in accordingly, and it just drew it right out easy. And there was one step I did forget to mention. If you look over there, you see that bolt, the brightest one right there? That's a 12 millimeter. You gotta crack that loose. And you can use a pry bar or your hand to pull it towards the motor so it loosens the belt to get that power steering belt off. Now we're going to work on getting this bracket off. And it's got 2 more bolts on the bottom down there, and I'm pretty sure they were 14 millimeter. So this bracket's coming off next. Now that the bracket is out of the way, you can see clear down. Got plenty of room to get the plastics out. First we're going to take this off of here, the back of this bolt, and tap from here, there, and it goes all the way down. Just unplug it from here, unhook it from there, and just follow it till you get all the little plastic nub. And try using a needle nose pliers to get those little plastic nubs off in the back of it. That's where they look like right there. All you gotta do is just crush this right here, right in the back of that. You can see it, and it pops right back. It pops right out. So we're going to get the timing covers off next, so we'll be able to see what we're working with. Okay, we got the top timing cover off, and we had a suspicion it was way time to change the timing belt. Check this out. Shouldn't even be turning that much. Look at that. And down here too. So we got all new parts for that. We got a new timing belt tensioner, idler gear, and water pump. So all that's going to get changed as a set. So next we're going to pull off that bottom section and see where the oil leak's coming from. Okay, we got the bottom timing cover off. And it seems like the oil leak that's inside the lower seal isn't too bad. The main leak looks like it might be the power steering unit. But we'll know once I get it all cleaned up and lined up top dead center. So what we're going to do is, if you can see right there, there's a hole with an S on it. That's supposed to go straight up. And on the head itself, there's an arrow that you line up inside the hole. So it's going to be straight up and down, and the crankshaft will line up. This engine was still running, so all the timing marks still in line. So we're going to get it all top dead center before we start breaking the tensioner loose and taking off the timing belt. Here we go. I wanted to show you the mark right before I line it up, what it looks like on the back of the head, or the front of the head. Where you're going to stick that, I don't know if you can see that hole down there. It's going to line up with that yellow line right there. I highlighted it with the yellow paint pen. It's good to see that in the dark. You can see a little bit more better. It kind of looks glow in the dark a little bit. So we're going to line that up and then break off that bolt and take the tensioner off and get that timing belt out. And I'm showing you through a reflective mirror that the hole is lined up. So that's where the timing mark belongs. Now you see where the marks go. We're gonna start taking off that bolt right there to pop that tensioner off and that spring, and take this bolt off. I mean, take this belt off, sorry, not bolt. Now this is what it looks like with the timing belt off. So what we're gonna do next is drain the coolant and pour it into a container so that it's contained and not spilling, making a mess. Then we're gonna pop that water pump off next and install the new one. But before we install the new one, this is really dirty in here. So what I want to do is go in and clean it all up. I usually use LA's Awesome. There's a bottle of it there hanging off my toe box. It's a yellow container. You can buy it at the 99-cent store. A couple of those usually do the job. It's a very good degreaser and it makes it real nice and clean. You'll see when I'm done. I took the idler pulley off now. You can see a little bit better the crankshaft gear. And you really can't see the mark from right here or on the side. So what I'm going to do is take it off and let you know where the mark goes and how it lines up. Shot from the bottom. As you can see, you can't really see anything. Maybe you can get up there and see something there. I don't see no mark on it, so we're going to pull it off so that we can get a better look. Yesterday we ran into a couple of problems trying to take the water pump off. I got it off, everything's been cleaned up and relined up, and new gears, idler pulley, tensioner pulley, water pump's been installed already. We went ahead and cleaned it up. This is what it looks like once you're done with using that LA's Awesome. Looks really good. And it got every bit of the dirty stuck on, because you get oil seepage sometimes and it does leave a thin film of residue, and all the dirt and dust gets stuck to it. But what I wanted to tell you is I'm pretty sure this is a common problem on Camrys with the 2.2 liter engine. On this water pump you can see this screw right here. That screw, when it's in there, it's a Phillips head screw. It's beveled head so that it centers the water pump exactly where it needs to be, so it doesn't change the timing on the engine. Well, on that water pump, after a while, that screw goes through a process called electrolysis, and it gets really bonded in there pretty good. And I tried everything to get it off, and other than popping the top of the screw off, I used a file to kind of see if I could hit it with the hammer to turn it and stuff, which this housing is attached to the water pump, but it kind of wiggles in there. I mean, it's held in there with a pipe, so it's not too sturdy, so you want to be careful when you try to hit that around. But what I did, and as a process I discovered on myself, so I wanted to teach it to other techs and DIYers to how to remedy that, so that we don't damage the back housing, because there's no room to get in here to stick a drill in there to tap and die this out. So what I did is I made it an idea to where the old water pump, I didn't need the old water pump. And here's the old water pump. And what I did to get that screw out was the water pump's positioned this way. Right there's where the screw would be. And you see how it's all corroded and stuff, and it stayed in there pretty good. I couldn't turn it for nothing. So what I did was I got a drill bit and I went through the side of the water pump. Since we didn't need the water pump, it didn't matter if you drilled a hole in it or not. So I went through the side, and I don't know if you can get a shot of that. Yeah, see, it goes all the way through. And what I did was, if you follow that hole through, it goes right down the middle of the water pump housing right here. And if you look sideways, it's gonna pierce right through that bolt and shave that head right off. And when I was drilling it, it just popped up and shot it sideways. And once I did that, the bolt itself kind of stuck out. See how this one stuck out in the back? It was stuck out identical to that. So I took a wire brush and I cleaned all that real good, and got a vice grip and grabbed the backside. The backside kind of stuck out about that far, so that was pretty cool. I was able to get this tin and bend it back this way to about right there, so it was out of the way, so I could turn the, the vice grip. That way I could start wiggling. And what I did was I went half forward, half back, half forward, half back, till I broke it loose. And once I felt that it was going back and forth pretty good, I was able to work it forward a little bit more, do it again, work it forward a little bit more, do it again. And let me see if I can find what that piece looked like. Here it is, still on the vice grip. So that was the piece that was left in there. And you see where I could take the wire brush to it and clean it up before it went out. That way it would come out as easy as possible. Nothing obstructing the thread in it like that. But yeah, that little piece I ended up chopping that off with the drill bit when it was still on the water pump. And I was able to get that out. And it saved lots of time. So again, here's a shot of the water pump with that hole in it, just to give you an idea. And that's the easiest way to do it. It took me 10 minutes and another 5 minutes to get the broken bolt out of the housing for the water pump. So that's that. Throw that in the junk pile. And we went ahead and installed the new water pump, as you can see. And before we installed it, we cleaned it up all really good. Every bit of dirt and grime is all gone, because you want to have a dry timing area so that give you a better shot, so that your timing belt doesn't get saturated and full of oil, which will weaken it and snap it. So just to give you an idea, it's all nice and clean. And we cleaned up the power steering. We're going to see where the leak from that is coming from. So hopefully we'll find that after we reassemble it and get it running again. Okay, so I hope that helped you and makes your job a little bit more easier. Because boy, if I didn't figure that out, it would have been a pain in the butt to get off. So 2.2 liter engine, how to get that stupid Phillips screw out of that. And the only reason it's there for is to line it up, like I said, to make sure the water pump's the right distance from the other gear, so they'll stay in time. Okay, let's go to our next thing. Right now we're going to make sure all our timing marks are up top dead center, and we're going to install the belt. Yeah, next we pulled out that lower timing gear and replaced the seal for the crankshaft but we couldn't find a timing mark on the gear itself. So my idea is, before you put anything back on, that's the timing belt or anything, I got a yellow highlighter paint pen, and I colored the 0 and the notch for the 0. Cleaned up the harmonic balancer, and I found the timing mark for that. So we're gonna stick those on together, line it up, and gently take it off, and then transfer the marks onto the gear. And I'll show you this process. Okay, first we're gonna sneak the timing cover in there. And then let them drop in the, see these little sleeves that are right there? They'll drop right in there, and they'll be nice and straight. So I've got that. So that's exactly where the timing cover needs to be. I just put one screw on to hold the timing cover so it doesn't move. And then next, I'm putting on the harmonic balancer. And we just gotta find the key for it. So I'm gonna do it about that far right there. And then we're gonna look on the top to see how far we're off on the marking. Okay, I went ahead and moved it to where it's exactly straight across. I don't know if you can see it right there. The little dot in the bottom of the 0 crossed with this one. So now we're gonna gently remove everything so that it doesn't spin, and we're gonna cross-reference the markings from the gear to the back of the timing covers. Okay, there's a shot of the marks right there. You can see the one yellow mark on the block, and then I marked 2 of the Hall effect teeth on the cam, and it lands right in the middle of those 2. So I got it lined up to where it's right in the middle of both of them. Now we're going to check it again with the timing marks. Put the covers back on it to make sure that the outer timing marks are still the same. Okay, I gently reinstalled the harmonic balancer and the timing cover, and you can still see that they are lined up. There you go. Can you see that? Let's get out of the light. But yeah, they're straight across, so we're right on the money. Okay, at this stage you want to remember to tighten this 14mm bolt. I'm not sure what the specs are on it. I just tightened it till the bolt didn't want to turn, and I didn't want to strip the hole out. So it's pretty snug in there, pretty tight. I had a problem with one time. I was working on the 2006 Pacifica. When I installed the water pump, it was a water pump that I ordered online. When I installed the water pump, I guess the impeller wasn't pressed on correctly on the back of it. So once it was installed, the water pump didn't want to move. So now I made it a rule that to check the water pump, make sure it turns freely and that it's correct. That was a manufacturing defect. The impeller was too far back, so it was hitting the back of the housing and wouldn't allow it to turn. So as soon as I install the water pump, I turn it to make sure it turns freely, and it just feels like real nice and tight, you know, because it has a new bearing in it. So remember to tighten the idler pulley and all the bolts for your water pump. And then this you're not going to tighten until after the belt's installed, which we're going to do next. The timing belt on. I checked the mark up here on the dot. It was lined up. And now we're going to check here. And you can see that it's lined up there. Let's see if I can throw a little light on it. So I can get to the bottom of the car. And that's lined up. Can you see it? The 2 dots are lined up with the 1 dot in the middle. And here see that it's lined up there. So we're good to go. Now what we're going to do is tighten that bolt down, put a little tension on it, and then tighten it down. And then don't forget to throw the front timing cover disc that goes in front of the timing belt on the bottom crankshaft pulley. Okay, so now what I went ahead and did is, now that I have all the timing marks top dead center, cam and crank, I have the tensioner locked down. What I went ahead and did is, before I reassemble it, I'm going to spin it over 2 times. Because it's 1 time for the cam, 2 times for the crank. Or 1 time for the crank, 2 times for the cam. So when I get these marks to line back up, top dead center, I shouldn't feel any resistance or anything like that. I should feel compression as I'm turning it. And if you feel compression, then you're right on. So the rest of the video is done, and the rest of the assembly is just reversal of what I did. Okay, so good luck everybody. I hope this video helped you out.